Hello, everyone. My name is Erica Serna, and I am a marketing manager at ChiroTouch. And I want to welcome you to today's webinar featuring Dr. CJ Mertz. Dr. Mertz built his cash-driven, subluxation-based, lifetime family wellness practice to over 1,200 patients visits per week. That's when chiropractors started visiting his practice every day from all over the world. This led him to begin his coaching program, which has now trained over 6,000 teams in 20 countries that speak over 12 different languages. In this presentation, you're going to learn the top 10 tactics for increased income, which has helped lead to record-breaking growth for several hundred practices in the last 24 months. It is my pleasure to welcome Dr. CJ Mertz.
Erica, thank you so much. And again, I want to thank every one of you for coming on. For most of you, it's around lunchtime, so I know you're probably getting something to eat and being able to fill your mind with some incredible content here today. There's over 200 docs from all across the country training with you today. It's going to be an amazing time. I'm going to talk to you today about 10 prophetic visions. This particular training has already been released to all my clients across the country and around the world, because every single year I start off with this type of training for them. You are going to realize that in this particular training, the word prophetic describes accurately describing or predicting what will happen in the future. Wouldn't that be great? Coming off of this training today, for you to feel like you could be predicting what will happen this year. That is my goal, and that has been my goal every year for all of the docs that I lead, is for you to actually feel much more in control of what it is that you're doing in your practice. So after hearing every word of this message, you'll be able to accurately predict and plan for your best year ever. Wouldn't that be great, right? And so that's why we're here today, is to get after that. So let's talk about past, present, and future to set up this fantastic training today. Once you've learned from your past, it's incredibly important, and this is actually what sets up the success for this year. Once you've learned from past decisions and actions, forget the past. Just like great athletes, right? They may actually go in and throw a interception, learn from what you did, and then forget about it. So you're not going back on the field thinking about, oh my gosh, I don't want to throw another interception. Or somebody that's up to bat and they strike out. Okay, well, learn what you did there and then forget about it. You don't want to come back up to the plate going, oh my gosh, I hope I don't strike out again. This type of mentality is rampant in our chiropractic community around the world. This year, you're not going to make that same mistake. You learn from your past decisions and actions, and then you forget the past. Fully embrace your present and squeeze every ounce of growth and experience from it. Well, that's going to come in a big way through the training today. And then anticipate, speaking of your future, right? Anticipate your brightest future and then prepare for that like your life depended on it. Do you know, when I sit down knee to knee with my clients all over the world, I ask them these questions on a regular basis. And it is interesting to me, particularly for docs that I'm just meeting for the first time, how often thinking about a bright future is something that doesn't happen often at all. In fact, as they're being very honest with me, and of course, everything they say to me is highly confidential, what I would then hear from them is, you know, I just get so caught up, Coach CJ, with the challenges of my practice, you know, the problems I'm dealing with, the obstacles, you know, that are in my way, that seems to consume my thinking. And so when you're asking me about, you know, how often do I think about a bright, or in fact, the brightest future possible, I don't know that I even allow that into my thinking. So as we start off today in this incredible journey, I want to encourage you, right? And that's all I want to do the entire time I'm with you, is to encourage you and to say, you know what? As your practice grows, I have over 112 practices around the world that are serving over 1,000 patient visits a week, for example, right? Just think about, like, what that would mean in your practice. Over 500 practices serving over 500 patient visits a week. I mean, think about on the way up, those same doctors and their teams have got to continue thinking about their brightest future ever. And I'm talking about clients right now, chiropractors that are serving over 300 a week, over 500 a week, over 700 a week. Do you know what's interesting? They have problems. They have challenges. They have obstacles that they need to work through in order to get their practice to the next level. It's that you can have those. In fact, you will have some challenges this year, but you can have those challenges and keep the brightest possible, the brightest future image possible. When you teach yourself to do that this year, it's hard for me to put into words how valuable that is. So we're going to do 10 prophetic visions. You're going to notice they're going to all start and finish the same way. If you choose daily, are the first words that you're going to hear 10 times. And at the end of it, what you're going to hear is, you will experience record-breaking growth. Raise your hand if you want to experience record-breaking growth with me this year. Yeah. And I know you've raised your hand, right? And so now what that means here in this first prophetic vision is, if you choose daily not to bring a single thought, memory, or emotion of your past into your present this year, 2024, you have just set yourself up to experience a record-breaking year. I want you to know that statistically, the majority of chiropractors are having a challenge right here, which is why I kind of put them in order. Prophetic visions 1, 2, and 3 go together, as you'll see. So this one here speaks of, let's say it's this afternoon, but I'm already thinking, what I'm really thinking of is something that went wrong or didn't work right this morning. But it's on my mind right now while I'm in this afternoon, but I'm thinking about what didn't go right this morning, or what didn't happen, or what went wrong yesterday or last week or last year. In other words, I just keep bringing my past into my present. I want you to squash that. I want you to know that there's no redeeming value to that. I want you to know that that's a bad habit, like, biting your fingernails, right? Like, you don't need to do it. You can just literally stop that and then watch what happens to your practice. And this is what I get to observe. And I'm very blessed to be in the place I'm at to watch chiropractors be able to do just this right here, if you choose daily. See, you can't even choose this now, like it's a one and done. Like, you can't even say, okay, Coach CJ, I just checked that one off. No. Listen to what that's saying. I'm choosing it daily. I have to choose this daily. So if you chose it today, that's awesome. You need to choose it again tomorrow and the day after that, right? I'm going to choose daily this year not to bring my past into my present. That sets you up for a record-breaking year. Let's build on that, right? We're just going to continue to get even deeper down this amazing wellspring. So now let's add to that this second prophetic vision. If you, my friend, choose daily to plan more KPI-driven actions than are possible to perform in any given day, like today, you will experience a record-breaking year. Now, KPI, just in case that may be a new phrase for you or term, it's key performance indicators. So what I want you to get is this. If you have 50 people scheduled today on your books, the actual appointment isn't the action. That's already on your books. That's not the action. That appointment is what sets up the opportunity for an action. Well, that should get your mind spinning, and those are those KPI-driven actions that I just talked about. For example, Jonathan comes in for his regular appointment, but what you really see is today, what I should be doing is leading and inspiring Jonathan to share chiropractic with a friend or family member. That's the action step. That's a KPI-driven action step. Now, when Cindy comes in and she's the very next patient on table 2, it's not so much that I want to lead her to inspire someone to share chiropractic with a friend. It's actually that she's missing a couple of appointments, and I want to really lock that in with her about how each adjustment adds to the next, and the body corrects and heals to rhythm. So Cindy, what I need you to know is you're on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 a.m. That's how your circadian rhythm works. That's important for you to keep those visits so you get the very most out of this care. And all of a sudden, in 30 seconds, you just got her back on track and she's not missing another appointment. Notice those two action steps were very different. Inspiring somebody to refer, making sure no one misses, or Cindy doesn't miss that appointment again. I could go on and on about the third and the fourth person and the seventh and the 27th person today. It's if you choose daily to plan more KPI-driven actions than are possible to perform today, you will experience a record-breaking year. This is huge because, again, speaking to so many chiropractors that I have the honor and privilege to every day, every week, what I hear from them too often is, Coach, I get so focused and so caught up with, my note taking, and then just sort of, making sure I'm doing a great adjustment. And then the patient's, off, let's say, into therapy, and I'm now into the next patient. And when I look up an hour later, it was really very I've just got my head down and I'm just kind of doing what's on the schedule book. Notice what I'm saying here. I am not saying that you're doing just what's on the schedule book. If you walked away from this training with nothing other than what I just said, it's going to be a record-breaking year for you. You cannot continue in 2024 to simply come into your day, whether you're seeing 10 today or 100 today or more, and just do what's on the schedule book. This is clearly telling you there's something bigger and better. And it's prophetic, because when you do this, you will experience a record-breaking year. Well, that leads us to this third vision, how you do it. Thank you for joining me again today. I'm so excited for this training for you, because we're really kind of looking at 2024 at a glance, right? We're looking at it ahead of schedule going, hey, you know what? If you really want to set a goal and you want to achieve that goal, here's the 10 best ways to do that. In fact, the more that you get closer to all 10 of these happening, you're guaranteed that you're going to absolutely have a record-breaking year. So number 3, the third prophetic vision, is that if you choose daily, my friend, to fully believe and remain obsessively committed to the brightest future that you see for yourself, you will experience a record-breaking year. Isn't that how I opened this? I opened it by looking at past, present, and future in this third prophetic vision. It's you being able to actually see through a challenge, through a problem, right? Through an obstacle. Yes, we all have those. My practice was absolutely stuck at 100 patient visits a week. Some of you may know my story. I'll just give it briefly, but I'll tell you what, how many of you'd agree stuck is stuck, right? And whether you're stuck at 100 a week or 200 a week or 400 a week, when your practice gets stuck, there's a real clear feeling about that. And I was stuck at 100 patient visits a week. I look back now and I realized that God had sent me 5 mentors in the order that I needed to have them. Do you know my practice went from being stuck at 100 patient visits a week to serving over 100 people a day 6 months later? That was in the same office, in the same town where I was stuck and just was wondering how I could even get to 110 or 120 a week, let alone then 100 a day. Trust me, that was so far beyond any goal that I could have ever written down or imagined. But what I was doing and began doing right, which I wasn't, was first prophetic vision, second prophetic vision, and third prophetic vision. So I got really good at these 3, and all of a sudden things started changing like crazy. Do you know how many chiropractors I could share right now joyously have gone from total breakdown and, I won't say depression, but just confusion and frustration, being stuck, to now break through, right? And that happened in 2023. This is record-breaking news, breaking news right here. You can do this. You can do this. You just have to actually recognize what's important and how I get it done. I wanted to give you a survey today that thousands of chiropractors have already done. I want you to do this. And again, this is just for you, right? So I want you to do it as honestly as you can so you can get the most out of it. So the question really is one of 4 answers. I rarely set goals. And right now, if I'm just being honest with myself, I feel somewhat anxious about my future. B is I do set goals, but it's hit and miss. And I feel cautiously optimistic about my future. C is I set goals regularly, but I need to revisit them more often. And I do feel good about my future. And the fourth, D, is I set and hit goals regularly and feel extremely confident about my future. Please go ahead and just, if you're taking notes with me, if at least mentally, which one of those more appropriately matches who you are and where you are right now, A, B, C, or D. Let me share with you what those results are. And I'll start from the bottom, where I want every one of you this year. 9% of our profession is in the answer D, that they set and hit goals regularly and feel extremely confident about their future. 29% are C, I set goals regularly and I feel good about my future. 37% said I set goals, hit and miss, and feel cautiously optimistic. 1 out of 4, 25% of our field says I rarely set goals and I feel anxious about my future. I want you to recognize that regardless of what your answer is, look at where you want to be. Think about what your next step is. And it might just be, maybe I even haven't set a goal for this year. Maybe I'm not a good goal setter. And I have a gift for you, by the way, for that. I don't want that to be an issue with you. Again, maybe I haven't been as good at problem solving, and I want to help you with that today. Right now, if you've taken this survey, the fact you did it, I'm just giving you a big high five and a hug. And now let's do something about that. This is just data that came from last year. Do you realize last year, $4.3 trillion was spent on delivering healthcare in the United States? My only question for you is, how much of that do you want to participate in? How much of that do you want to experience? Like, let's say that your goal this year is to collect $500,000. Maybe you've never done that before. Maybe it's to collect 750,000 or $1 million or 1.5 or 2 million. All of you are on this line training with me right now, right? And my point is, do you understand what a drop in the ocean that is to 4.3? Now that means everything. Those are life-changing results for the patients you're serving. But I'm talking about collecting $1 million is a drop in the healthcare ocean, and it's already being spent. So I want you to start reframing your brain around being able to receive at a much higher level this year. Again, I'm just going back last year, 2023, there were 1 billion office visits to doctors. So if you say to me, gosh, it would be amazing, Coach CJ, if I could actually serve 1,000 office visits a month. Like, that would be amazing if I could have 1,000 office visits a month for the year of 2024. Well, that's 12,000 office visits. How is that relative to 1 billion that are going to happen this year? Now, to every one of the patients that are under your hands, that's life-changing for them. But 12,000 visits in a year, a drop in the healthcare ocean. Some of you might say, well, Coach, I want to have 2,000 office visits a month. Okay, that's 24,000 office visits. Again, a drop in the healthcare ocean. My question is, how do you want to participate in what's already going to happen in this healthcare field this year? All the money that you can ever imagine is already being invested into healthcare, and all the appointments, all the patient bookings that you could ever imagine are already happening. That 1 billion office visits, and it'll probably be more than that, are already on the way to being booked. Give yourself a glass half full mindset right now, early this year. That's why I'm so grateful that you and I are catching each other like in month 1 of 2024, and you're hearing 10 prophetic visions before the year happens. I hope and pray for every one of you taking notes. You go back to these notes over and over again. You obsess over them and you put them into action. The fourth prophetic vision is if you choose daily. That obviously is a very important thing, right? I'm having to make choices daily to see a doubling of your monthly new patient volume as a single drop in the US healthcare ocean. You will experience a record-breaking year. So if you're currently averaging 20 new patients a month, what this is telling you is to see, right? I'm choosing daily to what? See, in my mind, 40 new ones a month coming in. If I'm actually seeing 25 new patients a month, I'm seeing 50, right? I'm actually doubling the number that I normally see. I'm seeing it. I'm actually seeing that. And the reason why you're seeing it might be helped by this statement I'm about to make to you. And that is, there are tens of thousands of people within driving distance, Doc, of your practice that have a problem only you can solve. Think about that. tens of thousands of people within driving distance of your practice right now that have a problem, subluxation, nerve interference, dis-ease, right? They have a problem only you can solve. So when I think about prophetic vision number 4 is think about seeing twice the number of new patients. There's already 10x and 50x and 100x that many that need to see you today. I'm just asking you to stretch a little bit. And that little bit is see twice, see double the amount of new patients that you see now, which leads us to 4, 5, and 6. They go hand in hand. Prophetic visions 4, 5, and 6. So let's continue. 5th prophetic vision, if you choose daily to see a doubling of your weekly scheduled appointments. As a single drop in the US healthcare ocean, you will experience record-breaking growth. This one hits home for so many chiropractors because they say to me, you know what, coach, I get so fixated on just sort of what's on my schedule book. So if I'm serving 100 patient visits a week, that's kind of predominantly what I'm thinking about, and then maybe just kind of stretching that and just doing a little better than that this week, like maybe I can get to 110 or 120 a week. That might be the best that my mind does right now. That's not what this one's saying. If you choose daily to see a what? A doubling of your weekly schedule. So let's say I serve 100 patient visits a week. I want to see in my mind 200 a week coming into my practice. I know there's only 100 scheduled today, but I want to see 200 coming in. If I'm seeing 200, I want to see 400 coming in. This is not a good idea. This is the 5th prophetic vision. And of course, the 6th one, which goes hand in hand, is that if you choose daily to see a doubling. Notice that 4, 5, and 6 was all a doubling. This one is of your monthly volume. As a single drop in the US healthcare ocean, you will experience record-breaking growth. So if I'm collecting $15,000 a month, I see 30,000 coming in. If I'm collecting 30,000, I see 60. If I'm collecting 80,000, I see 160,000 a month coming in. So 4, 5, and 6 are about, you know what? There is power in seeing something greater than what is. Say yes if you get that, right? And so every day, what day? Every day I'm going to actually see it greater than what it is. My schedule book, my bank account, that already tells me what is in terms of new patients and patient visits per week and monthly revenue and so forth. That we already know what is. Be able to see twice that's something you are putting into the equation, and you cannot underestimate the power of that. Well, that leads us to this year, your decision making will have to do more with achieving your goals than any other factor in your life. Your decision making will have more to do with achieving your goals than maybe any other factor in your life. So here's the 7th prophetic vision. If you choose daily to make more decisions and better decisions than you did last year per day, you will experience a record-breaking year. So if all I did was pretty much focus on what was on my schedule book, which is kind of what happened in vision 4, 5, and 6, right? It's like I very much focused on just what's on my schedule book. I'm probably not going to be making more decisions and better decisions than I did last year. I'll be kind of just repeating what I did last year. But when you get outside of just making decisions on what's on my schedule book today, well, that's when things start to radically change for you. And that's what I've noticed every year in the last 30 years that I've been coaching chiropractors all over the world. This one's massive. And there's more to say about this, but I want to share something with you right now. There are 3 groups of doctors that are on this line. Again, I want to thank ChiroTouch for being such a great host and allowing us to come together and train like this. The 3 groups that are here are those of you that are already using the ChiroTouch iCloud, right? The cloud-based software. And again, I'm just going to give you a big high five and a round of applause because you're at the top of the mountain, right? That is what should be happening, is that we should all be cloud-based. And I just want you to understand the whole server-based model is almost obsolete. I was talking to a couple of chiropractors just after Christmas, and they were saying the same things that I'd heard from another 5 or 6 chiros right before Thanksgiving. And that was, they were up to looking at having to buy new servers. Do you know that's at least a $10,000 throw thinking about doing that? And you know what? What's worse than the 10,000 is you're going to just stay in the install mindset. The world has already gone cloud, right? So this isn't like the future, it's now. And so that might be one of your best decisions this year, is to go, hey, you know what? Why don't I actually make it even better? Like the docs on this line right now that are already cloud-based in ChiroTouch, they have mobility, they have accessibility. They're actually able to literally be on their cell phone at home, for example, or at lunch, away from the office remotely, and be able to check anything at any time that fast, right? That has changed the game, right? It's an all-in-one as well. Everything's there. The online scheduling, everything. So if that's the case, fantastic. If you are in the ChiroTouch install user, here's what I'm going to suggest, and it's in your chat box right now. I would urge you to consider getting a demo that actually allows you to see what this cloud-based software is. I encourage you to just look under the hood, match it to what you have right now, and I bet you're going to see something you couldn't possibly have imagined. And then for the rest of you that are not ChiroTouch users, and you have another software, and maybe you're just not completely happy with it. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe it's not doing what it was that you thought it was supposed to do. Look in your chat box right now. And I'm going to tell you two things. On behalf of ChiroTouch, not only are you going to wind up getting a demo that's scheduled 15 minutes. All you got to do, within 15 minutes, it'll be so clear to you why this could be an option. You're going to also wind up getting a $50 digital gift certificate, which you can use in hundreds of locations as a way of just saying thank you for scheduling that demo. And for all the ChiroTouch community, I want you to know that there's a link either in your chat box or it's coming right after this. And that is a way for me to send you a $500 video training that I did with my clients just this last month. You're going to get that. And my team's going to send that right to you, not only for just being here and training with me, but the fact that you're actually in the ChiroTouch community. I want to share that with you. So get your demos scheduled. I'd love to see you're coming out of the gate right here in January. That's a great decision. That's an amazing decision. You don't have to choose to decide right now if you're going to change your software. Just know the choices you have, and that's really smart. Right, so now we're talking about making better decisions here in the 7th prophetic vision. So far, if you look at this screen, this might be a great screenshot for you. This is the summary of the first 7. It's choose to leave the past behind you. Number 1, choose to stack your daily action plan, right? That was KPI driven actions. Number 3, choose to believe in the brightest future possible. Number 4 was to choose a doubling of your new patients. 5 was to choose and see a doubling of your appointments scheduled per week. And then 6 was choose to see a doubling of your monthly revenue. And then 7 is to make more and better daily decisions. Gosh, if you just went through that right now and said, gosh, what am I actually good at? Which one of these do I do pretty well? And then where am I either kind of hit and miss? And then maybe 1 or 2 of them like, wow, I haven't even ever thought about that. Like I've just never done that, right? Look what's available to you right now, early in 24. So this is what I do with my clients, and we just go that much deeper, just still in number 7, and that is which of these choices are pulling hardest against you. So while I just put up the first 7, here's what I want to ask you. These are issues that are keeping you from any one of those prophetic visions. For example, is it because a perceived lack of energy to pull it off? That's why I can't do 1 through 7, one of them or more than one of them. I just feel like I have a lack of energy, like I don't have enough energy to pull off what you just said, Coach CJ. Or my current habits just seem hard to break, and as a result of just sort of how I do what I do, I think it'd be really hard to do what you just said. Okay. Perceived lack of belief in yourself or your team that you could pull off what I just said. So there's an issue with maybe a belief system that needs to be looked at. Maybe I just feel overwhelmed by apparent lack of support, either at home or at work. I just don't feel like I've got the support I need. What do we need to do about that? Maybe it's because frustration from apparent lack of resources. Like I just keep thinking, if I just had more resources, then I could do what Coach CJ is saying. And that seems to be the issue. Or it's because of triggers from trying and failing before. So even as I'm talking, you're thinking about, gosh, oh, that sounds great, and oh, that sounds great, but I've tried lots of things and they just haven't worked, and like that's my mindset right now, and it keeps coming back as a trigger that I've tried things and they failed, and so I'm right now at this place where I don't know if I trust myself enough to be able to go back into that again, or it's because of fear that your patients won't like the changes that I'm referring to in these 10 prophetic visions. And I'm so nervous or afraid that if I make changes in my practice, that my patients won't like those changes and maybe they won't stay. And all of a sudden that's caused major, halt on anything new decisions, because it was right, choose daily. I don't feel like I can choose daily because that means I need to make changes, and then there's a fear or 2 or 3 fears set in there. All of these, I promise you, all of these are fixable. But as I walked through that, which one of these is jumping off the page at you? And if you actually just accept it, if you just look at that, don't even judge yourself for it, right? Just, in fact, it's actually an opportunity to celebrate as far as I'm concerned. Like you could finally just go, that's it right there. Well, what happens when that's not there anymore? Like for me, you know what was going on. If you only knew what was going on this page with me when I was stuck at 100 patient visits a week, you'd look at that and you could hear me say now, if I can do it, you can do it. And now that I've actually helped over 3,000 chiropractors grow their practice to over 300 patient visits a week, it becomes so obvious that if that many chiropractors are set free, like they were all stuck and now they're not, and they're actually saving so many more lives, right? They're just helping improve so many more lives. Their retention has increased. Their patient visits per week has increased. Their monthly volume or revenue has increased so much. It's because of this page right here that they broke through it. And I just want to encourage you, you can too. It's by literally just staring it down, like just seeing it eye to eye, as we just spent a minute doing. An obstacle which may be standing in your way, you can free yourself to move forward and experience record-breaking growth. Let's finish with 8, 9, and 10 today. How has this gone for you? I'm hoping and praying that this has been a great start for your new year and that you're ready to take action, right? You're ready to do something different. And I applaud you for that. This 8th vision, prophetic vision, says, if you choose daily. Notice that was the same for all of these visions so far. It's a daily decision every day. If you choose daily to keep your main goal as helping enough other people to reach their health goals, you will experience record-breaking growth. There isn't a single goal that you and I are going to accomplish, whether it's number of new patients or patient visits per week or the revenue per month, as I've been talking about so far today, that happens without you helping others reach their goals. And so I want you to understand that you are a goal-setting advisor. Did you know that you're a goal-setting consultant? Because most of your patients today, do you understand, they know very little about even what or how to set health goals. Now, here we are at the beginning of the year. So, we went through New Year's resolutions. And so there's, I'm sure, people in your office right now that set a New Year's resolution, for example, to drop some weight, and so they knew they needed it, and they're 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight. And they're like, you know what, I've just got to get after that this year. And so they're even right now, they've made some decisions about what they're doing to get that right. Somebody else may have actually, that is in your office right now, they actually joined a gym, and it may have had nothing to do with you. Maybe it did. But the point is, it was a New Year's resolution, and here we are at the beginning of the year, and they did that. Do you understand that gym memberships are up 500% in January and February for New Year's resolutions? But sort of past those two, the idea of them actually understanding truly what health goals that they should be gaming for, including correcting their spine and nerve system, including actually having a maintenance plan, a wellness plan for their life. They don't know what that is, and they have no goals inside of that. That also could include, for example, specific maneuvers and stretching. It can include certain nutrition advice. It could include certain homework that they're doing, cervical extension traction. There's so many other micro goals that could be happening, which would bless them 10 times over, that they would not even know how to make. But I just want you to get right now, the way you double your revenue is by helping as many other people reach their health goals. So you want to actually start getting sort of obsessed on just helping a whole bunch of people reach their health goals and being able to help them even exceed the goals they may have. Because most of us know that for most of our patients, I don't even know if they set it as a goal or say it as a goal, but they came in and they have headaches. So their goal is to not have headaches, right? They came in and they had muscle spasms, they had low back pain. Their goal is to get rid of the low back pain. Well, that's awesome, right? But that's low-lying fruit, right? That's the bottom of the ladder, bottom rung, right? You need to be able to show them levels of goals, levels of healing, levels of opportunity for optimal health and healing they didn't know about. And then they share it with friends. And so now you've got more new patients coming in that you can count. You have patients that are continuing under their care, and all of a sudden your practice is doubling. And here you are helping more people reach their goals. Well, that leads us to the 9th prophetic vision, and that is if you choose daily to stay connected to a group of kairos, right? A group of DCs, practices who are striving for these same prophetic visions, you'll experience record-breaking growth. You know, I do a lot of surveys during the year. Most of you know I do a lot of guest speaking. I'm one of the top 10 most sought after speakers in the world for chiropractic. I do it online, I do it in front of groups. And my point is that when I'm actually doing surveys, whether they're written surveys or surveys in front of groups, it's astonishing to me in 2024, how many chiros would say, this is what they're saying, is I feel more like an island. Now, in this era, when social media has got us connected with so many people, right? Like we can connect to the world, if you will. More chiropractors feel more isolated, and the languaging they say to me would be, gosh, coach, I just feel like I'm on an island. You know, I come to work and I just put my shoulder to the boulder and I work hard and I want to grow. I'm hungry to grow. Like I want to serve more people. I want to be more successful. But if I'm being honest, you know, on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis, like I'm not speaking to other chiros. You know, I'm just kind of doing this sort of on my own. And sometimes I go to YouTube videos, and sometimes I, you know, listen to some podcast, and you know, sometimes I get some kind of random email and I listen, you know, to what they're saying about that, and it's just all disconnected. And I'm still not really connected to anybody that I really feel has the same drive to have these prophetic visions going over the goal for their practice, right? And what if you did? What if you did? And I can help you with this too, right? That you just need to recognize this is one of the top 10. And I'm just wondering, how did you do last year? Like, was I still kind of doing it all by myself? And how did that work for you? What was the joy factor? What was the success factor? Because I get a chance to see how many thousands of chiros are now connected with each other, and the joy that they're bringing into their practice every day, and the kind of success and prosperity that they're bringing into their practice on a weekly, monthly basis, it's radically different. So I don't want you to just simply jump right past number 9. This is massive, right? So number 8 was, I just need to be thinking about having that many more people reach their health goals. Number 9 is, man, I need to get connected to some chiro buddies, and I need to make sure that we're not just talking to each other about what's not working in our practice. Like, let's hold ourselves accountable to make some decisions that are really great for our practices, and that will make a huge difference for you. Do you know, I was reading about this at the end of last year, right after Thanksgiving in 2023. There were approximately 2.5 million news articles that were made into online or offline platforms every 24 hours. Listen to me, 2.5 million articles every day. Let me ask you this. What percentage of those articles would you say are a negative slant on what's happening with the world and conflict around the world, and about politics, and about economy, and about inflation, and about school systems, and on and on and on? Like, how much of that is really positive? And what I'm suggesting to you is this: in the 10th prophetic vision, last and maybe most, if you choose daily not to engage in reading, listening, watching, or talking about negative information, and instead feed your brain, please write that down, feed your brain with possibility. you will experience a record-breaking year. It was an epidemic to be talking to chiropractors in 2023 who just found themselves in, whether it was, CNN or Fox News or whatever it was, just spinning in cycles of just negativity. And that's only going to ramp in this year where we're going to be voting. That's only going to get that much more intense, right? And so for all these reasons, I want you to be able to stay updated, right? In whatever that means to you. But if you choose daily not to engage in reading, listening, watching, or talking about negative information, personally or professionally, right? So at your practice and even outside your practice, just don't do that. Instead, feed your brain with positive possibility. You will experience a record-breaking year. Think about what it would be like to have these 10 prophetic visions all working for you. What would that really be like? And I don't want you to think that you need all 10. By no means am I saying, hey, you got to get all 10 to have a record-breaking year. But for most of you, you probably need to look at least 3 of them and commit to saying, you know what, while I want to have more than 10, all kind of plates in the air, well, that would be great to have all 10. Let's just work towards 10, but which are the 3? And for those of you that took good notes, I'm sure you're very clear which of the 3 I'm going to absolutely choose daily, right? Because that was the whole point. I'm going to commit every day. Starting today, I'm going to commit every day to these 3. I wouldn't commit to all 10 because you would fail, and 2 weeks later, you couldn't do them, and so you stop all of them, right? I'd much rather have you do one that you do every day, maybe 2, and up to 3, right? And if you do this, my experience, having coached over 16,000 teams, you're going to have the best possibility of a record-breaking year. So take some time to digest these prophetic visions and assess the necessary adjustments to make them so. You'll be glad you did. And speaking of which, I cannot wait to be able to send those of you that are ChiroTouch users, whether you're install or cloud, an incredible training. Only my clients have seen it. It's a $500 training. I'm sending it to you to thank you for being on today and being inside the ChiroTouch community. For those of you that are not in the ChiroTouch community, remember, you have the opportunity to actually schedule for a demo with Tyler. 15 minutes with Tyler will blow your mind. He'll also send you that digital gift, right? That $50 gift that you can use in hundreds of different stores. And you also have the chance to schedule a goal setting and practice solving session with me. So I just want you to think about 30 minutes right now, sometime in the next week or 2. What's the best day and time? That's in the Calendly right there. It's in your chat box. So you can schedule a 30-minute session with me. It's normally $250. It's waived. I want to apologize in advance when that fills up. It's done. And so that will happen. But for those of you that really want to do something significant this year, you really want to come out of the gates, but there's some things that are in your way, right? Well, let's solve them. Let's practice solve, and let's set the right goals. And I'm happy to walk through that with you. So you can actually contact Katrina as well, and she'll get that scheduled for you. I am simply success@cjmerch.com. So you've got that in your Calendly. You've got that also is a Calendly, and you can also reach us, success@cjmerch.com. More than anything, I want to just encourage you to have the best year you've ever had. Whether this is your first year in practice, your 10th year, or your 35th year, you can do it. And there's tens of thousands of people within driving distance of your practice that have a problem only you can solve. Yeah, you can increase your practice income by over $100,000 this year. You could give yourself a raise of $100,000 to $150,000 by being able to do what it is that I just shared in these 10 prophetic visions. So I encourage you to lean into it. I encourage you to take action, choose daily. And I look forward to being with you again soon. Until next time, and as always, practice with passion. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you.